softball, then you are going to love the Fastpitch TV show. We're bringing you more interviews, more videos, and more product reviews than anyone else on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Hello, I'm your host Gary Leland, and this is the Fastpitch TV show. Now, if you've not been to our website, please take a look at fastpitch.tv. Now, that's the home of the Fastpitch TV network and the place to find all my softball videos and softball blogs. It's basically a network for Fastpitch softball. Now, I upload this show on the 1st and the 15th of every month. But something's happening there all the time. I think we do the Fastpitch radio show on the 7th and 21st and so on and so on. So please take a look after you finish watching this episode. That's fastpitch.tv, not fastpitchtv.com or anything like that, just fastpitch.tv. I also want to tell you about my newest project, the Fastpitch magazine for the Apple iPad. New issues come out the first week of every month, and we have a great group of writers like Olympians Kat Osterman and Natasha Watley, former pro players like Charity Butler and Lisa Ianson, and many, many more. If you not have an iPad, you really need to check out fastpitchmagazine.com today, and soon it'll be on the iPhone, and subscribe. This is not a fun magazine for kids. It's a serious coaching tool. I promise you're gonna love it. Now this week I'm bringing you another softball coaching clinic I recorded at SoftballCon. If you're not familiar with SoftballCon, you really need to check out their website right away at softballcon.net. It's a great coaches clinic. They hold it there every January. Now this week we have a session by Ted Sullivan from Game Changer Media, and his clinic is about coaching in the digital age. Let's watch it now.
My name is Ted Sullivan. I am founder and CEO of Game Changer Media. Our product is called Game Changer. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may have learned about it this weekend. This presentation is not about Game Changer. We are going to talk a little bit about Game Changer as one piece of it, but really it's about, as you see here on the screen, coaching in the digital age. And before I even get started or give any of my background, I'm going to give background on somebody who's not even here. And I apologize, no matter how hard I fooled around with this, I'm not technically savvy enough to get that screen to look like my screen. So I'm cutting off some stuff at the top and at the bottom, but we're just going to go with it. So this is Coach Rock Murray. He's a good friend of mine. He's one of probably the smartest coaches I know. He coaches at Rockland High School in Rockland, California, outside of Sacramento. He's in his 50s. He's a math teacher at the school. Wouldn't stand out if he was sitting in the crowd here. He actually was a California High School Baseball Coach of the Year. He's a very, very cerebral, very intelligent coach, but not particularly tech savvy. And about 4 years ago, when I had the inklings of this idea for this product called Game Changer, and I was into software and I loved amateur sports, and I'll give you a little more of that background, I sat down with him and I talked to him about his use of software as a coach. And what I heard was something that was very familiar to me. This is going to cut off all my words here, isn't it? I heard things like, I don't have time, we don't have the budget, I'm not good with that stuff, and I don't know where to start. And that's become, those four responses, raise your hand if you've ever said that about software. Some of you that aren't raising your hands, probably lying, but then there are probably some software geeks in here. And that was what I heard when I came up with this concept. So anyway, my promise here today, that says my promise there at the top. I'm just going to sort of read the slides for you. I'm going to give you a few simple and free tools that will help you improve your team, help you promote your team, and help you save time. And I'll repeat, simple, I mean that, and free. I'm going to talk about probably, I think, 4 or 5 different tools, different software products here, and not one of them will cost you any money. That's my promise to you. But they will improve your team, and they help you promote your team, and they will, maybe more than anything, save you time. And I know as a coach, always need more time. Everybody needs more time. So let me give you a little bit of background on myself. That is a baseball card of mine when I was playing single-A baseball, and my fearsome look on my face was making up for my less than fearsome fastball. So it was not long after that I ended up in pictures like this. And I was coaching a youth team in Lower Manhattan. If that picture was SB in the top left, if that picture was taken from the other direction, you'd see actually the World Trade Center construction site going up behind us. We were right there. I could hit a fungo into that construction site from our Little League field, the downtown Little League. And so my background in sports, I've been a ball player, and I went to Duke University. And then when I was at Duke, my brother was actually playing at Stanford. The two of us started a sports camp company in the Washington, D.C. area called Head First Camps. And that business now, 12 or more years later, to my brother's credit, is the largest youth sports camp business in the Mid-Atlantic region. And we also run the branded baseball camps for the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Cubs in those respective cities. And so I always loved the amateur game. I'd always, from as long as I could remember, had been an entrepreneur in this market since I was a teenager. And I ended up leaving that business and went and got my MBA and went to business school and then moved to New York because I love technology and I saw some interesting things happening in the technology market. Meanwhile, though, I wanted to stay close to the game, so I kept coaching Little League. And so these two things, I spent my days, from 8 or 9 a.m. until about 4 p.m. or so, or sometimes later, unfortunately, 4 or 5 p.m., working for a software company that was doing mobile, and this was in like the 2005, 2006, 2007 timeframe when the first iPhone came out, and Android was just coming out, and there was this tidal wave that was crashing on every industry in the world, including the one I was working in, which happened to be higher education, but it didn't matter. Journalism, finance, the medical industry, you name it, we're all seeing it now. And meanwhile, I felt that the world of baseball and softball, and specifically the amateur game, had yet to have that tidal wave crash on it. And I thought that was interesting because there are all these softwares doing all these software companies doing amazingly simple and often free, that word, things improving our lives, right, off the field. And maybe in our jobs or around the home, but I didn't feel like there was anything that was truly disrupting and changing amateur sports and making our lives better as coaches, players, fans, parents, tournament administrators. And so that was really the origin of this idea, which is Game Changer. I'll talk about Game Changer in a minute. But really, I've spent the last 3 or 4 years having conversations like the one that I had with Rock Murray, learning about how software can help this market. And in the last few years, especially with the whole Moneyball phase, right, software has started to impact the professional game in pretty significant ways, right? Players are watching video about every pitch, and they're seeing the statistics obviously are impacting the free agent game and all of that stuff. This is an article that I would recommend you actually read. It's pretty fascinating. It's from actually back in August 2011. And there was a quote from Jason Stark: "The information age hasn't just transformed baseball, it's practically revolutionized it." But again, I was more focused on the amateur game. And the reason is because, well, first, that's where my heart was. It's a bigger market, right? There's tens of thousands or millions of teams in the amateur game versus 30 in the big leagues, or a couple hundred in Division I in college. But the particular reason is because what software does best is it helps us save time and be more efficient at our job. And the fact is that actually the amateur coach needs that more so than anyone at the professional level, right? Your job, what this actually says, is you wear many hats, right? And you guys that you can probably commiserate with this. You're the coach, a lot of times you're the GM, you're the VP of sales if you run a travel program, right? You're selling your program. You're the chief financial officer, often you're doing the accounting, you're the office admin, and you're even the grounds crew, right? And I think that fact that we're all so aware of proves how much we need time-saving tools to make us more efficient and better at our jobs. Oh, it also says at the bottom, and don't forget your day job, because a lot of you obviously have a day job as well. So back to my promise. My promise is to help you improve your team, help you promote your team, help you save time for a total cost of $0. And we're going to talk about 4 things in particular here, 4 different tools 4 different pieces of software, so that when you walk out of here, you're gonna have 4 things to say, okay, you know, maybe they're not all for you, but they're 4 things that you can actually do. One's around video analysis, which I'm sure that all of you have heard about and learned a little bit about. 2 is around stats, and particularly better stats for your team. 3rd is team communication, making you more efficient communicating with players, parents, the whole team community, the fan community, if you're at a high school, alumni, whoever it might be. And 4th is team photos and video. And again, always simple, mobile, and free. As you'll see, I'm big on mobile. I think that everything has to be mobile. So let's start with video analysis. Who here uses some sort of video analysis in their coaching? So sort of a scattering. Video analysis is something from all of my conversations, and I want to be really clear here. Again, we're going to talk about Game Changer, my product. It's only one of these 4. We don't do video analysis. I have no association with some of these other companies I'm talking about. So video analysis is interesting because it can be incredibly complex, and there are some pieces of software out there that are actually quite good, but they're a big investment, and they take probably a number of hours to even get your hands dirty with them. And what that does is it makes a lot of us say, you know what, I don't have the budget, again, right? I don't have the time to sort of learn about this. When the fact is that the tool of using video to help all players is undoubtedly an incredible tool. Not for every player, but I think what you'll find is some players really, really react well to hearing you talk about something in their mechanics and seeing it on a video, right? And so what I always try to do is to encourage coaches to take what's the easiest getting started step with video analysis? And I think, of course it's cutting off all of my slides. I think it's YouTube. That's a YouTube logo at the very top, all right? YouTube is totally free. We've probably all used YouTube in some way or another. We've probably used it as a consumer, not necessarily as an uploader of video, all right? But YouTube is incredibly simple. It's obviously owned by Google. Everything they offer is free for the most part, right? And what I would recommend for a getting started with video analysis, your players are taking hacks in the cage, off a tee, maybe live field BP or whatever it is, or pitchers throwing them in the bullpen. Take out your phone or an iPad or any tablet device, film them for 10 seconds, and just talk as if you're coaching them. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, a minute, right? A lot of devices, any Android device definitely, because they're owned by Google, will have a upload to YouTube, right? You can put that right on YouTube. You can set your privacy settings so that other people can't see it. We all think of YouTube as being available to the world. There are great privacy settings within YouTube. You can create your own channel, right, is what they call it. And now you have your coaching that's right there, while that player can then go home that night, see them taking hacks in the batting cage, and hear your voice talking about the 2 or 3 things that they need to work on. And it's incredible how much that can resonate. Again, not with every player. They're not all going to be visual learners in that way, right? But I think you'll find that some of them, all of a sudden, it just resonates, right? You're saying the same thing every day and practice the same players. Now they're hearing it 20 times at night when they watch their own video, and it can really resonate. So YouTube, I think, and I'm not saying use YouTube and don't use some of these others. If you're technically savvy and you want to dive in RightView Pro, and there's probably all these others that you've heard of, they're all great. I don't know all the details of them. What I'm saying is, first, dip your toe in by using something like YouTube and just simply talking to the player as you're filming them, upload it so they can watch it at home. And they can also watch it on their mobile device. Again, free and mobile are 2 critical pieces to everything I'm going to show you here. So, any questions about video analysis? Any questions about why you would possibly use YouTube? All right. Let's talk about metrics. So this is where Game Changer comes in. And for those of you who don't know what Game Changer does, I'll give you a little background here. So what I've found from, again, hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of conversations over the last several years, talking with coaches and how they use data and how they're interacting with their team and what they're doing to make their team better. I have found with unbelievable consistency, in my opinion, that coaches are using the wrong stats to evaluate their players. And that's not surprising. It's not the coach's fault. It's that there's been no efficient way to collect the right stats. And that's really at the core of what Game Changer does. So anyway, so Game Changer really does two things. So Game Changer is a mobile and web tool that's totally free for coaches and scorekeepers. It's an app for scorekeeping that then sends live play-by-play update and stats to the web or to mobile devices of parents and fans. So it's a free app in Android and the iOS, the Apple platform. But the key thing here that I'm going to talk about and where we see Game Changer really helping teams get better, sorry for the, again, the headers, it says developmental metrics at the top, right? Is that we have taken the stat analysis piece to a whole nother level for the amateur game. We have designed our product specifically for the amateur game. And do we have slugging percentage and batting average? Yes. We calculate all those stats and they're done instantly and it's all available in a really simple interface online. But more importantly, we have dozens of stats that we call developmental metrics, right? And these are stats that are calculated through a really easy scorekeeping interface. So your scorekeeper is much easier than the book, right? We have 65,000 teams that use it from ages 8 and under through the USA national team. So that gives you an idea of the range. But the key here is that we are tracking stats that evaluate things that I like to call sort of more effort-based and team impact-based stats rather than just results-based stats like slugging percentage or batting average. Examples include, we track hard hit balls, right? So what do you want your players focused on? You just want them focused on hitting the ball hard, right? Not simply batting average. We track things like 6+ pitch at-bats, okay? So now you can talk to your players, like the ones that are really working the count, not only just 6+ pitch at-bats, we track the stat of seeing 3 pitches after 2 strikes, right? So who's tough with 2? Once you have those metrics, not only are you coaching to them, but the players know that you're evaluating based on them as well, and they start doing the things they're supposed to be doing. Instead of just, getting pissed when the ball, a line drive gets caught diving, catching the outfield, they know that you're now seeing in their hard hit ball percentage, right, that's actually a positive for them. We actually keep a quality at-bat stat as well. So everybody, and I think there have been some coaches here these last couple of days talking about quality at-bats. It's very hard to calculate quality at-bats unless you have someone, doing some pretty extensive charting in your dugout, right? We do a quality at-bat stat as well. And it's incredible. Every team I've seen, if you sort by quality at-bats, those first few players on there are going to be your best hitters, without a doubt.
What type of things does that include in?
Yeah, so we have a lot of discussions about this, and some fascinating discussions actually, because everybody, I bet if I polled everybody as to what they think should count as a quality at bat, we have 40 people in here, we'd have 40 different opinions. So we have one. It's maybe not perfect. Ours is that if you have a plate appearance with a 6 or more pitches, you see 6 or more pitches. You see 3 pitches after 2 strikes. Even if you strike out, you see 3 pitches after 2 strikes. Successful sac bunt or sac fly, a hard hit ball, or a 2-out RBI. Any one of those counts as a quality at bat in our stat. A funny story about this actually, and I was telling a gentleman upstairs not long ago. I don't think he's in here, but people have asked us, can you build something so we can configure our own quality at bat? It's something we plan on doing in the future, and I think that'll be an awesome feature because, again, everybody has their own. And the way we learned that everybody has their own, and we never really satisfy all of our users. We had two of our employees, one who was an Ivy League Player of the Year at Harvard, another guy who played at UVA, both very experienced players, really knew the game, and coached the game. They had this vehement argument about the fact that we don't include a base hit in our quality at-bats. So, of course, a lot of base hits end up quality at-bats, but you can actually get sort of a nubber base hit, and it's not a quality at-bat, right? And that's the way we decided to go with it. And one felt that was absolutely wrong. If you got a base hit, it should be a quality at-bat no matter what. And the other said, no, there's batting average to calculate that. Quality at-bat is supposed to be about quality at-bats. So I said, okay. They fought over it every day. Said, okay, you guys have my approval. Send a poll to all of our users. We now have millions of users. We had hundreds of thousands of users at the time. And ask them and see what they think. And if it's overwhelming in one way, we'll add base hit. And it came back, almost, it was like 49% one way and the other, right? So that just shows everybody's got their own quality at bat, and you should have your own quality at bat, right? This is ours. The fact is it's generally accurate. The point here is that I think a quality at bat percentage or a hard hit ball percentage is what we should be evaluating young ball players on, not batting average or slugging percentage. We have actually even more pitching stats. I was a pitcher. I love coaching pitching. I love analyzing pitching stats, but specifically, again, these developmental metrics. Things like not just first pitch strike percentage, which I think we all know is a really valuable stat. What Game Changer creates for you is results of at-bats that start in a first pitch strike. So you can really see, and the thing that's fascinating, so we have first pitch strike percentage, first pitch strike at-bats that end in outs, first pitch strike at-bats that end in walks and end in hits. The first pitch strike at-bats that end in walks, right? We have, again, tens of thousands of teams. I don't think I've ever seen one team from, the first kid pitch level all the way through Division I college in which that percentage is more than 10%. So in other words, if you throw a first pitch strike across all the innings, it's very, very hard to walk a batter. And sometimes, of course, we can scream and yell that to players, but until they actually see those numbers, right, and show how hard it is to actually give up walks, to give up hits when you throw a first pitch strike, that's what we're creating for you, and these are the metrics that I think are important. Also, we have a whole section of our stats about efficiency. In other words, things like 13 pitch innings or less, on or out in 3 pitches or less, things like that. I'm talking about attacking the strike zone, I think is really important. And then a whole series of stats about the walk, right? So leadoff walks that score, and a whole bunch of other stats. Things like that, I think, are the metrics that as amateur coaches of amateur teams, we should be focused on. Game Changer does all of it for you and presents it in a really sort of beautiful layout. So let's move on from stats. If there are more questions about Game Changer, I'm happy to hang around. We'll have a few minutes after this before the convention ends. We'll be up at our booth to give a few demos, but then we got to race out to a flight, so I don't have too much time, but I'll also leave some flyers if you have more questions about Game Changer. A simple tool for group communication. This is another one I always get. People spend, and I'll say people, that Little League team I coached, I probably sent 150 emails over a period of 3 months to the parents, players, sometimes just to players, sometimes to parents and players, all this stuff about everything from rainouts to everything else. Don't forget this or that. And I've since found a better tool. This is really frustrating. It's called GroupMe. Write it down. GroupMe is a incredibly simple text message based group texting tool. They're not the only ones that do it. I'm sure there are other folks that have a good one here. They are I think the most simple, the most polished, really, really great tool for group texting. One of the advantages here is that there are apps. So if you have Android or an Apple phone, there's a really slick app for doing it. But you also can do it if you don't have any type of smartphone or anything, and it can be just done text-based. What I like about it is actually you can create different groups, of course, hence the GroupMe, so I can have a parent list, a players list, a team captains list, a all other fans list, and it allows me really easily to communicate certain things so I'm not bombarding some people with messages they don't want. Sometimes I just want to write to team captains, whatever it might be, and this allows me to do lists really easily where I'm not adding phone numbers and subtracting phone numbers out of a group text. So I think, again, the other key here is it's mobile, it's totally free, and it's very, very simple. I've picked what I think are the most simple tools for you here. Lastly, the best way to promote your program. And this has been a fascinating, like I said, over the last several years of talking to people about, talking to coaches about what's of interest to them. Stats always gets their attention. Communication, because it's so time consuming, it's important. Video analysis, they always want to always want to learn about what's new and how they can do it without paying $1,000 license fee for some software or anything. The best way to promote your program, there's certain coaches I've found that have gotten great benefit out of really promoting their program. If you have a high school and you have a booster club, right? Booster club fees. If you're running a travel program, the coaches that I've seen that are the best at promoting their programs are going to, essentially it gets promoted by, its parents, its other relatives of players, its alumni at the high school level, even alumni for the travel ball level. And so we always encourage, I always encourage promoting a program because it fuels the financial fire. And the greatest promotional tool out there is Facebook. And I know that sometimes coaches, there's sort of a love-hate relationship with Facebook these days, but I really think that Facebook, if used appropriately, a Facebook fan page for your team, again, it's free, could not be any more simple to use. It promotes the program. If you want to see a really great team Facebook page, Google DeMatha Baseball Facebook, right? DeMatha High School in Hyattsville, Maryland. Maybe you've heard of them. They have a powerhouse basketball and football program. They have an outstanding baseball program as well. And their coach, Sean O'Connor, has done an outstanding job of promoting their program. They're one of our game changer teams. They're an early game changer team. But you can dive into their Facebook page and you get a really good sense for the attitude of that team, the love and passion around that team and the booster club, and it's really incredible to see. And not surprisingly, they have in a school where they're probably like the fourth most, it's not like they're the only powerhouse. Basketball, football, and lacrosse are the real powerhouses there, and yet they have incredible booster club donations. They have sponsorships. You see there's a Nike underneath the baseball. And again, it's not just because they're on Facebook, it's because their coach has done a great job of really promoting their program. They're highly recruited players. They go to a lot of great tournaments. And I think one piece of that is the promotion that they do on Facebook. Couldn't be any easier and doesn't cost a dime. So that's Facebook fan page for promotion. I will say that, so this is a image of our Game Changer app. To make the Facebook fan page even more compelling, Game Changer has a feature actually that as you're scoring the game, we'll send end of inning updates to your Facebook fan page automatically. So your Facebook fans can follow along and they're getting, at the end of the inning it'll say, DeMatha Stags 3 versus Tigers 1, no runs, no hits, whatever, going to the top of the third or whatever. It's like at the end of a commercial break or whatever. And we'll send that to Facebook so that again generates, so they've got, one of the things that DeMatha has through their Facebook page is incredible alumni following, right? So all the players that have played for them in the past are following now and are commenting on games and things like that, which is pretty fun to see. So back to Coach Murray, my buddy Coach Murray, who was, had all those objections at the beginning. I don't have the budget. I'm not good with this stuff. I don't know where to start. I showed him where to start, right? And now Coach Murray, actually, amazingly enough, and who knows how this is within the rules of their league, in his dugout, this is a guy who was he had a flip phone, didn't even have a smartphone. And he has 2 flat screen TVs hanging from the top of his dugout, showing spray charts of opposing team players that are all being pulled from previous games on Game Changer. So that's just sort of a hint of where he's come, and he's sort of gone nuts with it. But it's been fun to see a guy like that would not consider himself a tech genius at all leverage some of these free, simple tools to make his team better. He has actually, if you see him during batting practice, he's outside, he's behind the cage. Or next to the cage, and he has one of his team managers just holding an iPad, filming each player, and he's just talking. So he's just doing the normal coaching, but it's being recorded, throws it into, actually a lot of times the kid will come out of the cage and he'll go right back into that video on the iPad, throw it on YouTube if it's something that he thinks that ball player should see again. So again, that's totally free for him to do, and he's learned to really leverage technology to his benefit. So that's it for me. Notes on this talk in detail are at our website, gc.io/go digital.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to SoftballJunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout. And wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now that last short clip, that was my daughter Amanda, and she was telling you about my website, softballjunk.com. Now I hope you wrote down the code she gave you. It's FPTV30 in case you didn't, because anytime you buy a softball bat on my website, you can enter that code to checkout and save yourself $30 on a softball bat. And you can use the code over and over and over and over. It's really a great deal. Share it with your friends. You just need to remember the code, and that's FPTV30. Now, the entire reason this show was originally started was to promote my day job, basically, softballjunk.com. So if you enjoy this show at all, I'd ask you at least check out my website, softballjunk.com, the next time you're looking for softball equipment, softball bats, whatever it is. And if I offer the same price or better, well, please buy from me. I'm asking for your business and help support the show. It's a great way to support the show and what I'm doing here. Now, I hope you enjoy Ted's clinic. You may also want to download his app for the iPhone and the iPad. It's free, and I really do have to say it's a really good app. Just search for Game Changer in the iTunes App Store or the iTunes Store, and you'll find it. And like I said, it's free. Well, that's all for today. So until next time, this is Gary Leland saying goodbye, and thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv.